They booed him, live. But not for what you think. Stephen Colbert, America's most watched late-night host, just had his show cancelled by CBS. No warning. No negotiation. No replacement. They're not just getting rid of the host. They're killing the Late Show itself. A franchise that's run for 3 decades is ending, with one cold announcement. According to CBS, it's just business. They said it was a purely financial decision. Too expensive. Ratings shrinking. Late night is dying. You've heard the excuse. But here's the twist. 3 days before the cancellation, Colbert went live on air and tore into CBS's parent company, Paramount Global, for quietly paying Donald Trump $16 million to settle a lawsuit. And yes, that happened. Paramount, one of the biggest media companies on earth, agreed to a multi-million-dollar settlement with Trump over a 60-minute segment that aired years ago. Stephen called it what most people were thinking. A big, fat bribe. That wasn't just a joke. That was a bullet, fired straight up the corporate ladder. 3 days later? CBS executives tell Colbert that The Late Show is being shut down permanently by May 2026. Coincidence? Or corporate retaliation? Because here's what makes this even messier. CBS isn't some indie cable channel. It's part of Paramount Global, a company in the middle of a delicate $8.4 billion merger with Skydance Media. A merger that needs approval from the FCC, the same government body where Trump allies now hold major influence. So ask yourself, would a company trying to win political favor let its most outspoken host attack Trump publicly, and survive? Let's just say this. When Colbert made that monologue, it didn't just ruffle feathers. It shook the entire corporate tower. And suddenly, budget issues became a reason to kill the #1 late-night show in America. Despite leading its time slot. Despite having the highest ratings. Despite multiple Emmy nominations. Despite being one of the last remaining voices in late-night television that consistently called out political hypocrisy on both sides. Gone. Overnight. And the reaction? Explosive. Jimmy Kimmel called it a hit job. Andy Cohen said it's a sad day for late night and for CBS. Jimmy Fallon said he was shocked and saddened. Even Senator Adam Schiff weighed in, calling the cancellation concerning, and demanding answers about political influence behind the decision. Senator Elizabeth Warren called it outright shady. CBS canceled Colbert just 3 days after he exposed their $16 million Trump deal. That's not coincidence. That's control. That's the key word here, control. Was this really about budgets? Or was it about shutting up a voice that got too bold, too honest, and too expensive to protect? Because when billion-dollar mergers are on the line, truth becomes an inconvenience. And comedians? They become liabilities. Colbert himself broke the news to his audience. Live, with a laugh that didn't quite reach his eyes. He looked exhausted. Surprised. And oddly, relieved. You could tell he didn't buy the financial decision line either. After all, how does the highest-rated late-night show suddenly become a loss? The answer might be found in what Colbert didn't say. Because despite being the sharpest satirist in the game, Colbert held back that night. No monologue. No roast. Just silence. Which says more than any punchline ever could. So now, The Late Show is done. CBS says it's moving on. The network will reimagine late night, whatever that means. More streaming. Fewer risks. Cheaper voices. Voices that don't challenge billionaires. Voices that don't say the quiet part out loud. And while Colbert might walk away with millions, what he's really losing isn't a show. It's a platform. A space where truth could be wrapped in sarcasm. Where jokes could be weapons. Where power could be laughed at, without being silenced. But apparently, not anymore. Not in this industry. Not in this election year. And not with Trump back in the headlines. The cancellation of Stephen Colbert wasn't just a network decision. It might have been a warning. Speak too loudly, and your MIC gets cut. Ask the wrong questions, and suddenly, your ratings aren't enough. Say the quiet part out loud? You might just lose your job. Because in the war between comedy and power, power almost always wins. But the truth? That's a whole other story.